and all that, getting hit multiple times, coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome back to the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. This is round number 2 this season, coming to you today from Sebring. My name is Ron Maunz, and alongside me, working the comms and the cams, is Guido Marzucchi. Well, Guido, I think for the first time that you've ever gotten the opportunity to commentate one of these races, the fact we're running at Sebring may be a bit of a trial by fire. This track is brutal. Brutal on the bumps, brutal on just about every single end of the scale. This is going to be a very fun race, but a very tough one for these racers.
Hello everybody. Yeah, for my debut on the commentary booth alongside with the production booth, it will be an interesting race, an interesting track. It's a staple on the US racing scene. And yeah, I'm excited to be here in the double role for today alongside you.
Yeah, that's gotta be super, super fun. It's gonna feel kind of like the Formula V shows here on SMB with Mr. Joshua Wilkie and I usually run in the booth for that with him working the comms and the cams. It's rather fun, definitely a little bit stressful having to do both. I've gotten the opportunity to do that on both XSLR and the old shows that I had on Saturday night that I put together myself. It is kind of fun though. You can say a lot of stuff talking about these racers, and you can also control the graphics as well. It gives a nice little amount of power in terms of commentating one of these races. But currently about 13 minutes in to this qualifying session, unfortunately, because of the fact that my old co-commentator, Mr. Charles Beauchel, is not here today. We do not have any keys to the race. However, I will say that the bumps, of course, are going to be a rather important thing that these racers have to deal with all throughout today. This is a track that is synonymous for being about as patchy as you can possibly get. And in these open wheel cars, they're open wheelers. They don't like bumps at all, whether it be the curbs or whether it be just clattering the suspension as you head your way down into turn number 1. Guido, you're actually on track on half of this track yesterday for the Formula Vs, and as much as those cars are a little bit different, there are some comparisons that could probably be drawn between the Formula V and the FF.
In the Formula VSD, we raced the club layout of this track, and it's kind of technical. It's very different, way less bumpy because it cuts out all the bumpiest sections of this track, and in the Vs it's way more technical that we usually run. In the series. It's been a fun race for me until it wasn't, but I want to talk about the yesterday race on my side, if you please.
I'll spare you that. I will give you that lenience there, Guido. It was a pretty fun race from my perspective in the commentary booth, but I heard there was a little bit of beef after that was said and done. I think I'll just leave it at that. But here on this much longer track with much longer lap times, looking to see who's going to be the master of this track. This is actually the site of the first ever Formula Ford Weekend Warriors race that I covered a couple of years ago, in fact, when I first started up on these shows full time. And I remember that race absolutely soaked with rain. We'll have to see what the forecast may be today. But with already one round of this season in our rearview mirror, we can take a look at the championship point standings as we head off into the second round of the championship. We'll start off with Spec 1, where your race winner last time out of Mikey Pollard holds on to that championship points lead. 109 points is his tally right now. One in Spec 1 won the race overall. Maritza Nazelli, your pulse hitter last time out at Oran Park, is slotted in P2. Yanshi Lin, Simon Ball, and Michael McConnell round out your top 5 in the Spec 1 category. Now take a quick little gander at Spec 2 here in a couple of moments' time, where it was Alexander Gorson pulling off the double, grabbed the pole and grabbed the race win in the class. Ended up P6 at the end of that as well. A very good performance for him. He was on a bit of a hot streak as we got to the end of Season 3, and as we start Season 4, he's got to look to try and keep that momentum rolling. 10 points behind him is Kevin Adrian, slotted in P2. Graham Rory Hunt is in third. Paul Jackson and Marcel Gorson round out your top 5 in the Spec 2 category. Now I got to take a quick little gander at Masters, where Antonio Reese starting off as he did last season with a win last time out at not Oran Park, Alton Park. Second tries a charm, but he was able to get the job done there. P5 result overall in the Masters win. Holds on to that championship points lead over Jurg Mani, who's over Chris Murakami, who's over Alan DeGassis, who's over Andrew Love in the 944 car, making his Masters debut throughout this season. It was actually raised last week by my usual co-commentator, Mr. Charles Beauchel, that I believe Andrew has run in the past in the Masters. However, there have been some changes to the Masters category and the rules surrounding it that put him back in Spec 2. But he's back there in the Masters class and looking to try and have a good season. Andrew's been a very formidable contender in the Spec 2 class over the recent seasons here in the Weekend Warriors World, Guido. So I wonder how exactly Andrew is going to tackle this season here in the FFs.
Oh well, it's his third season in the Masters classes. So after being an absolute force on the S2 class, And let's see how it will play out. I remember that the Masters class is for drivers over the 60 years old of age, and he just reached that milestone in his life, and is now a Masters driver. Yeah, let's see. It's another contender for Antonio Rees and Jörg Mani, who usually are the dominators of this class. So let's see how it will work out.
We'll have to keep eyes on many a racer all throughout this season. A fantastic season of races to look forward to here with the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. Of course, we got the season rolling last time out at Oulton Park. Ran at Sebring here today. We're going to be heading to Okayama, Bathurst, Road Atlanta, Rudskogen, Brands Hatch, Long Beach, Oran Park, Sonoma, Lebanon, and Watkins Glen at the end of the season as well. But before we get a bit too starry-eyed looking at the rest of the season, let's take a look at how things are shaking out in this qualifying session. Maurizio Nazelli just improved to go back onto the pole position, and a pretty good lap time from him. As let's do a little bit of an onboard here with the sponsor of today's broadcast here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, Jason Chen, in the number 25 car, heading his way down the start-finish stretch off into turn number 1 here in a few moments' time. You can see how patchy the concrete is in this part of the racetrack. Got to have full commitment down into this turn and try and spot that inside wall and get a little bit too flirtatious with it in some cases there. Now into 2 and 3, the small little kink to keep you on your toes as you head your way into the brakes, into 3, now into 4. This section in rapid succession, back to back to back are the turns. It can be a relentless assault on a racer, a relentless assault on their tires as well, but it's still not over yet with the turns as you head your way out of turn number 5 through 6 of Big Bend. This flat out blast in the middle part of the lap, a good overtaking opportunity as you head your way down into the heavy braking zone of the hairpin turn number 7. One of the later alterations made to this track, that runoff area on the outside used to be the normal layout here of that hairpin. Isn't anymore. We got that tighter, slightly more twisty layout now off through Fangio of 8 and 9. You may think, hey, this track was never in Formula 1. Why do they call it Fangio? It's actually the host of the first ever United States Grand Prix, not the first ever Grand Prix in the U.S. though, as the Indy 500 was a part of the F1 calendar all the way back there in the 50s. That's Cunningham of turn number 10. This is Collier Bend of turn number 11. Collier Bend, one that lives in my nightmares, frankly, as you head your way off through that part of the track. Gotta squeeze on that throttle pedal to make sure you don't spin up the rear tires. That's Tower Bend at turn number 13. Gotta keep the momentum rolling through there in that very awkward turn. Now into Bishop of turn number 14. This is a part where you can build up that speed once again. Once you get out of the tight twisties in the top half of the circuit, you can start to build up that speed, build up that momentum, and start to stretch out your legs a little bit. Oh, is Lynn. Oh, that's Shen going to spin it coming out of turn number 15. I was just going to raise how the curbs all through there are usually coated in some sort of cooking oil. And unfortunately there, Jason Chen proving my point before I even said it.
It's the onboard lap jinx. It usually happens to us when we go on board for the qualifying lap with someone. Usually spins or crashes or finds traffic. The same old stuff.
Yeah, that's usually how it rolls, ain't it? We just have one racer, they put in a perfectly clean and calm qualifying session, then we jump on board with them, and then they get struck by a falling anvil. That's usually how it rolls. But Jason Shen picking up a meatball flag, that'll do it for his qualifying session, currently slotted down in P14. Your top qualifier in the Spec 1 category for the second week in a row is currently Maurizio Nazelli. However, the gap between himself and Simon Ball, less than a tenth of a second, 0.091, as Andrew Love improves up to third of the Masters racers, P11 overall. The Masters class currently led by Antonio Rees in the 914 car, slotted in 4th. And speaking of Spec 2, Max Gamble currently holds on to the pole in that class, with Josh Wilkie running right around as well. As that's the number 30 of Dmitry Lukhanov. He, I believe, potentially maybe making his debut here in the Weekend Warriors world. That's a very good result from P17 in his first time out. Well done to Lunikov, as we still have a little bit of time left in this qualifying session. These racers looking to set in some times with the time running out. As speaking of a racer who always likes to bring the attention, it's Josh Soto in the 07 car.
Oh yeah, it's the first race, as far as I know, for Dmitry, the Ukrainian driver. So welcome to the Weekend Warriors League, and welcome to the SMB broadcast. I think a good result for his first race. We have 21 drivers registered for the race. I don't think all of them will take part on the race because some of them have not set a qualifying time. But yeah, we'll see. Good luck, Dmitry.
Yeah, and speaking of him being a newcomer, I actually just looked through into some of the messages in the Weekend Warriors chat. Stevie let us know about 5 minutes ago that Dimitri had just joined, and nice to see him out here, and nice to see the Weekend Warriors community continue to grow season after season and year on year. As Josh Soto came across the line there, didn't see too big of an improvement from him. He's going to start this race down in 20th. Soto, a racer who's very fast in all sorts of different race cars. I've seen him win in GT4 machinery. I think one of the oddest results I ever saw him get was winning a MX5 Cup race on the Indianapolis Raceway Park little half-mile short oval. He's a very versatile racer, very talented as well, but sometimes he can be a little bit inconsistent. We'll have to see what he can do starting this race a little bit farther in the back. Both qualifying now officially in our rearview mirror. We can take a look at that starting grid in just a couple of moments' time and let you know that for the second time in 2 races, it'll be the number 47 car Maurizio Nazelli starting this race from the pole position. Got it done at Alton Park. Didn't convert that into a W. Maybe he'll be able to do it here today. Simon Ball, the Norwegian racer behind the wheel of the number 76 car, will join him on the front row. Mikey Pollard is going to start this race in 3rd alongside your Masters pole sitter of Antonio Rees starting in 4th. Ian Anderson, the Scottish racer behind the wheel of the 145, will start in P5 with Christopher Cash rounding out your 3rd row. Yorick Monty will start this race in P7 alongside your Spec 2 pole sitter of Max Gamble in 8th. Josh Wilkie, SMB's very own, will start in 9th alongside Richard Harwood in 10th. Andrew Love will start this race in P11 alongside the Mexican of Kevin Adrian in the 210 car. It'll be Cesar Manzanto starting this race in P13 alongside Graham Rory Hunt in 14th. Jason Chen, your reigning Spec 2 champion, will start this race in P15 alongside Michael McConnell in 16th. Dmitry Lukhanov will start this race in P17 in his series debut alongside Weekend Warriors veteran Chris Murakami in the 901 machine. Jim Brewster will start in P19. Josh Soto will start this race in 20th. Peterson Rocha, the Brazilian behind the wheel of the number 40 car, will start this race in 21st alongside Paul Jackson in 22nd. Jeff Wubker and Michael Nelson will complete an all-Masters row number 12. And then we only have a few more starters left behind these racers, as we see right behind it Stevie Ray, series admin, alongside John Tom. So 4 Masters racers all packed in like sardines there, right outside of the top 20, just barely inside the top 25. But it's going to be Soren Garrett and Tom Shuey making up the 14th row right behind them. Bob Cohn will start this race in 29th. Jeff Browning will round out your top 30, and Dan Witzak, after not setting a qualifying time along with the likes of Garrett, Shuey, Cohen, and Browning, will round out your 31 car starting grid. We'll note that Jason Chen, the sponsor of today's broadcast here, the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors here on Slow Motion Broadcasting, not out there on the racetrack to take this start, and the same can be said about Dan Witzak. So they're going to have to start down in the pit lane, which may not be the worst fate considering how treacherous turn number 1 is here at Sebring.
Yeah, definitely they will be candidates for the comeback for the hard charger prize at the end of the race, because we know they are very fast. So starting from the pits, they will have a chance to get the trophy, but I don't know if it's the right call on this track. Something usually happens on this track, so I don't know if starting from the back it's the right call. There are a lot of spots where to pass here, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see how it will play out.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of questions that we have heading off into the second round of the championship. And since it is a full pace lap here at Sebring, we have a lot of time to do a little bit of filibustering here. Looking into the YouTube chat, I can see Tam. Hi, Tam. I can see Felix letting us know that he would be out there on the racetrack, but unfortunately he is sick and he's not in condition to race. That's unfortunate. Hope you're feeling a little bit better soon, Felix. And also seeing as well a message from the boss man, Mr. Joshua Wilkie. Guido on the mic sounds great. Guido, it's kind of odd because I'm so used to hearing you in my ear letting us know about replays and stuff, but now that we're commentating a race together, it's like Freaky Friday. It's kind of like the I could best describe it as it's the match to me producing and commentating the Weekend Warriors runoffs race a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Josh, and hi to Tam. She always watch our broadcasts of the Weekend Warriors race, and Felish, get well soon. We miss you.
Yeah, that we certainly do. He's looking to try and do well in this season. Won the Formula V championship back in Season 3, and I think he's put in some pretty darn good performances in the FFs over the past couple of years. We'll have to see once he makes his return how he'll be able to do in Season 4. But we've got ourselves a race to look forward to. 40 minutes of racing action at Sebring. Just want to briefly touch on the weather conditions before we get this green flag out. Looking pretty all right at the present moment, with track temperatures looking pretty solid. Weather conditions looking quite nice as well. Not a spot of rain in the sky, which, considering that we're in Florida, is an absolute shock. But no, it is going to be fun. Track temperatures currently hanging around 102 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's just in that window whereby it may get a little bit greasy, but overall it is still going to be a very good day of racing action for these competitors for round number 2 of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors here at Sebring. This 3 3/4 of a mile long 17-turn road course puts on some stunners of races, and have a feeling that we are in for a good one here today as the field heads their way out of the final turn. The field now in the hands of our front row sitters, Nazelli and Ball, with that pace car down pit lane. The green flag out, and the drivers now on their way off on the start-finish straightaway down into turn number 1. Looking like a pretty good start there from Ritz and Nazelli. Mikey Pollard in the 73 car already cutting some shapes on the inside lines here. 3 wide, 4 wide, racing really hard a little bit farther in the back. Everybody wants to get a good start here at Sebring, but only so many people can do it, as they're 3 wide for second. That right there was Antonio Reese involved in that battle with himself, Ball, and Mikey Pollard, as they are still duking it out for any single spot that they can behind Nazelli, who's jumped down to a comfortable gap.
Oh yeah, it was a busy start for sure, but so far so good, as we say. And everyone made the first few corners without any shenanigans, and it's great to see.
Yeah, very good to see the clean start that we've had thus far here at Sebring. Don't want to jinx it too much as they head their way down the hairpin. That's Simon Ball running off in the dirt, and a spinner right behind as well. I believe that's Max Gamble spinning from the Spec 2 lead. That's a disastrous start for the driver of the 277 car. He's going to be on the back foot massively already, as look at that 3 wide. Simon Ball did not get off to a good start at all. He's now feeling some pressure from Ian Anderson and Chris Cash. Cash was trying to get the move done down into Cunningham, but wasn't able to make it work, as all these racers still looking to settle their differences. That's the thing with Sebring. Even though this racetrack is so brutal and so tough on racers and cars alike, you can still go side by side just about everywhere here. Sometimes it ends in disaster, though.
Oh yeah, but so far so good. The race for the moment is pretty clean. Everybody's fighting for positions at the start of this race. The draft is not so powerful as it is in the V's, so it's important to get a good position from the start, and that's what they are doing. But yeah, we saw pretty good race on the first lap. Yeah,
very good racing. These drivers keeping it clean for the most part. Really, the only driver to drop down is Max Gamble. I think Todd Shuey may have had his own falling anvil there on the first lap of the race. And Maritza Nazelli really running comfortable in the race lead, holding on to a 1.5 second gap, even more than that, between himself and Pollard, as they had their way off through the final turn at the very beginning of this race. I think I may have spoke too soon, as Cesar Manzanto dropping down.
Yeah, you spoke too soon. We will go watch some replay for what happened in the first lap. This is Max Gamble spinning and waiting to rejoin for all the group to go by, and then Cesare Manzato, the San Marino driver, the driver from San Marino, had a moment also. I think this is turn 1. No, turn 1? No.
This is Sunset Bend, turn Sunset 17.
Bend, yeah. The last one. So, yeah. The slightest of the touches, and he's, on the back of the pack. So he has to rebuild his race once again.
Yeah, that was a shame for him. He spun out, contact being made as they headed their way down into the final corner, And I think there may have been some other racers involved in drama. It's Graham Rory Hunt dropping down with a spin down into the hairpin. Can see him slow on the high side. He's dropped out of this race. Jörg Mani, too, has run into some difficulties. What in the world has happened to Mani? May need to touch on that here in a couple of moments' time, as let's see what went wrong with the driver of the 925. It's a battle with himself and Ian Anderson, the 145 car, side by side as they head their way down the start-to-finish stretch. Off on a one, contact being made, and Mani gonna spin out of this race. I think he decides to call it a day shortly thereafter.
Oh, yeah. I think I will go to get ready for the next race, the SNF 10 years anniversary race, that we will stream on the official iRacing channel. So after this race, just jump on the official iRacing channel while contact behind, and follow the 10 years anniversary race. It's a special occasion, so be there. You want to be there.
Yeah, you absolutely do. Be there or be square on the iRacing Esports Network a little bit later on today for the presentation of the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors 10-year anniversary special. That'll be at Road Atlanta. Very fitting for myself as well, since that was the first ever Weekend Warriors broadcast I did, was a Spec Racer Forward race at that track way back in March of 2023. You look at the drama up on the front. That isn't necessarily drama, because Mazelli is creating the narrative right now, just driving off into the sunset, sets a fast lap of the race at a 2:16.499. See, I nearly said a 1:16. That would be, if you said a 1:16 around this racetrack, I'd have to wonder what sort of jet engines you had on your car.
Oh, we have problems for Jeff Browning. Let's see what happened. Still Sunset Bend? Yeah.
Down into the backstretch. Yeah, this is, oh boy. The bumps bite again.
Yeah, too hot. Oh, and that bump on the tire barrier, yeah, might have consequences. But luckily, he was close to the pit lane, so he jumped into the pits immediately to get his fast repair. All the drivers have one fast repair on this series, so you can take advantage of it and get back into the race.
Yeah, so Browning going to have to take advantage of that. As a black flag in the air for him as well. So things have gone from bad to worse for that racer. He's down all the way at the back, and he's going to be on the back foot massively throughout the rest of this race. Still about 34 minutes left to go, as we just passed the first 6 minutes. Nazelli still leads overall over Mikey Pollard. Antonio Reese holds on to the final podium spot. Christopher Cash, though, in the number 50 car, putting in a pretty good performance. Side-by-side racing with Richard Harwood and Simon Ball as they head their way down into Bishop, who's going to back out. Neither of them are going to back out of it. Down to turn number 15. This braking zone, good spot to finally get the move done, and Ball going to stop the bleeding. Wow. He's had a very rough start to this race, but that was a gutsy move.
Wow, yeah. Nobody, none of the two wanted to give to yield. So yeah, good job for both of them, because it's not easy. It's not easy, especially on this bumpy track, to keep full control of the car and not understeer into the car on your side. So good job for both of them.
Very good racing from the both of them, keeping it clean and keeping it smooth. I gotta say, though, I think I saw a little bit of front-end damage to that car of Simon Ball. Not sure exactly how he was able to pick that up. May have been a little bit of scraping at the very start of this race, because ever since then, I haven't really seen the same pace out of that number 76 car. Certainly got to try and repair that as he gets a little bit farther along in this race. Side-by-side racing, though, going on with Josh Wilkie and the newcomer, the 30 of Dmitry Lukhanov, the driver with the number 30 on his car. He is a Spec 2 racer, though, so keep that in mind, as it is still an interclass battle between these two racers. A slide, though, from Lukhanov as he headed his way off through turn number 5, and all that battling, Kevin Adrian going to drive off into the sunset, holding on to the Spec 2 lead right now, but Wilkie and Lukhanov battling off into a very tough section of racetrack to go side by side through.
Yeah, we have battles through all the field, as we see 2 wide, 3 wide, everybody's racing at their best. So yeah, it's a great race so far.
Yeah, Absolutely fantastic races. Oh, that could have been disaster with Paul Jackson and Peterson and Rocha. They're involved in a battle with themselves and Bob Cohen in the 932 car. Side-by-side racing as they head their way up through the second part of Fangio. That's turn number 9. Now down to the braking zone of 10 of Cunningham, who's going to be able to punch out in front. It's close quarter stuff. Down to the brakes and into the turn they're going to go. Peterson and Rocha holds on to that final spot inside the top 20 at the very least for now. Dmitry Lukanov holding on to P9 over Wilkie still, but he's a bit of a cork in the bottle. Yeah, it is still close between those racers, and you look at McConnell and Andrew Love right behind.
Oh yeah, it's not over. This is actually the battle for the podium in S2, and Kevin Adrian, the current leader of the S2 class, is not that far ahead. So if they work together, maybe they can catch Kevin. If they continue to battle, yeah, Kevin will just check out, I think. But here we go, they're not working together.
Yeah, no. Ooh, look at that sideways, slideways as he headed his way through the final turn. Dmitry Lukanov having a dirt track it as he headed his way up through Sunset Bend. He now may be at risk of losing out on a spot, but Michael McConnell and Andrew Love too worried about their own little side-by-side scrap. It's actually Josh Soto getting a move done on Love as they headed their way out of the final turn onto that start-finish straightaway. I think Love may have had a bit of a wiggle out of the turn. He loses out on some time, loses out on P12. This battling going to give Lukanov and Wilkie a bit of a sense of reprieve for now. However, Wilkie and Lukanov, as much as they've been caught up in that battling, they have to worry about Kevin Adrian just driving off to the sunset right in front. He still holds on to that class lead, and he's caught up to all the cars right in front. You can see him in the midst of that Hornets S with himself, Christopher Cash, Antonio Reese, Anderson, Ball, and Harwood right in front of Adrian.
They're still fighting behind. They're still fighting for that P2 in S2 class, and yeah, it's great. It's a great battle, very clean for the moment. So yeah, very good debut for the Ukrainian driver. So a bit of contact there.
A little bit of a touch going on between those racers. They're starting to fly closer and closer to the sun. Careful, Icarus, that could end in disaster. Lukanov still trying to apply some pressure to Wilkie. Wilkie looking to hold on to that spot for everything that he can in that very sharp-looking 777 car. Brand new paint scheme for Josh here in Season 4. I like it a lot. Indeed, I do. And that's a block. That's a defensive maneuver from Wilkie as they head their way down to Bishop. Look at the 30 car of Lukanov trying to stick it down the inside. He's got to be able to keep it side by side down to 15. He's gonna have to back out of it, stuck on the high side. Nothing that he could have done there. But Dmitry Lukanov, the newcomer in that number 30 car, really putting in an impressive result and giving a hard challenge from Josh as they nearly made contact off through turn number 16 of Le Mans onto the Ulman straightaway.
Well, look, I have goosebumps for this battle, and here comes McConnell, and I think it's a solo. Oh wow! Yes, Soto took. Soto, we mentioned.
Oh, no! He was sideways.
Wow. Yeah, Soto, we mentioned him before. He's a very fast driver, and he tried to take advantage of the battle ahead of him, and he almost did it. But yeah, this is just great to watch.
Oh, it is absolutely awesome as Wilkie and Lukanov yet again side by side as they head their way off through turn number 1. Who's gonna concede this spot? I feel like neither of them are, and it's just gonna bring in the likes of Soto, McConnell, and Love. That's contact being made off through turn number 4. Wilkie and Lukanov have both got a bit of a wiggle, and Soto gonna be smelling blood in the water. Let's see that 07 car pounds. He's on the outside of the 30. Lukanov gonna try and be boxed in here as he tries to break out of that box. They're going to be 3 wide as they head their way down the hairpin into turn number 7. Who's going to get this move done? Will it be Wilkie? Will it be Lukanov in the 30 car? Soto going to have to back out of it. Lukanov in that 30 car, really impressing in his series debut. This is some brilliant stuff from the Ukrainian man.
Well, never seen that before. 3 wide into the hairpin. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. The viewers will just excuse me if we are not covering other part of this race, but this is just too great to watch.
This right here is the action that we always expect in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors. You've got 4 very experienced racers, 1 rookie, all duking it out for these spots inside of the top 10. Any point can matter. You got some interclass battling there. It's just a brilliant race that we've got up. Oh, is that Soto and Wilkie? Oh, look at those two chasing their tails. They had their way out of 14 into 15 right now. Oh, Wilkie gonna hop the curb. He's got to pick up a slowdown in the midst of all that as well. Be careful on the rejoin, Josh, though. Contact being made. The two Joshua's banging wheels, and yeah, there is a slowdown for Wilkie. He's gonna drop down like an anvil push out of a helicopter.
Oh yeah, but this is great. This is hard battling, but very fair, very clean for the moment. And you see these 7 cars just trying to find their spot on the track in a very nasty track. Yeah, there no compliments here. Really, no compliments here.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit ugly between these racers. We haven't seen it break out in disaster, but with how close they're flying to the sun, corner after corner, lap after lap, it's going to get gutsy. Stevie Ray's made the call to come down pit lane, so the pit window officially open, but I don't think these racers that we have in this camera shot really worried about the pit stops presently. Ian Anderson, I think he ran into some trouble. He's dropping down like a stone thrown into a pond. Now slide an 8th, make that 9th, make that 10th, make that 11th, make that 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. He's still dropping down. Ian Anderson running into some difficulties as they headed their way down into turn number 3. And let's take a look at that side-by-side racing with himself and Ball, and he gets spun down to 3.
Oh yeah, the slightest of touch, but it was enough to send him into the barrier, and I think, yeah, he got a meatball flag. He towed to the pits. I think his race is pretty much over.
Yeah, that is going to be a very bad end for him, as he's going to be on the back foot massively, has to repair some damage on that car. We'll probably have to have a change of pants after that close quarters moment too. Ball yet again having another moment in this race. It's been a scrappy race thus far for the driver of the 76 car. Last time out, saw himself in a titanic battle with himself and Yanxi Lin in the battle for one of the final podium spots. That actually got clipped off into a short here on the SMB YouTube channel. Actually, no, it hasn't yet. Keyword being yet. Stay tuned, folks. He says he forgets what he's doing at his very own job. Soto and Lukanov still running nose to tail in this battle for P8. Wilkie gonna look to try and regain any ground. It has been, this has probably been the tamest lap in this battle thus far in this race. Outside of maybe a few moments every now and then, these racers have just been going at it. Hammer and tong, tooth and nail. Been fantastic from our perspective here in the broadcast booth. These racers may be a little bit terrified, as Soto gonna fight back once again on the 30 car side by side between Soto and Lukanov down the backstretch off into Sunset Bend, and Josh Wilkie gonna look to stick his nose in the midst of all that as well. He wants a good whiff at these two as they go side by side, screeching the tires sideways through the turn. Lukanov gonna run wide. Soto gonna run up into P8, and now that's gonna be Dmitry Lukanov feeling some pressure from Wilkie right behind. Andrew Love, the latest to come down pit lane, is Jim Brewster in the pits with a meatball flag. Yeah. He crashed last lap.
Yeah, let's see what happened to Jim a few moments earlier during the race. It just clipped the curb and yeah, right into the wall. An unfortunate thing for Jim.
See, now I'm split as to what the joke would be, because since you're working the comms with me on the show, Guido, I would say that the curbs were coated in olive oil, but we're down in Florida, so I think coconut oil would maybe be the better way to describe it. Either way, though, whatever cooking oil of your choice, the curbs around here, the 3D curbs here at Sebring, proving to be a bit of a worry. This was the track that I believe they introduced the 3D curbs at the first out of any track on iRacing, if my memory serves me correctly. Just went to the latest one at Alton Park last time out, and really proven to be a bit of a trouble spot for these racers as they come out of the turns trying to pin that throttle wide open. They just hit that curb and around they go like a top.
We haven't talked about him so much during this race, but Maurizio just checked out, 4.3 seconds ahead of Mikey Pollard, who has 4.2 seconds to the third place, which is Chris Cash at the moment. So they mostly checked out, and the good of the race, I'd say, is behind them. It's right here. It's right here. The race is right here. They're still fighting. I can just imagine the tension between these drivers on their rigs, because to go for so many laps, so close, so tight, so it's mind-consuming. Look at that.
Oh yeah,
three wide
it is
again.
outrageous. Yeah, that is ridiculous. 3 wide racing. Lukanov on the high side, Wilkie in the middle, and certain Garrett's now getting involved in this battling as well, as I think Wilkie may be gonna lose out on that spot too. Lukanov is there side by side yet again across the line, as Garrett now once again his nose firmly in this fight. He wants a whiff of that pie, and he's gonna go for it down the inside, down to turn number 1. That's gonna be gutsy stuff from Garrett, nearly making contact with himself on the 30 of Lukanov. They hold on to it for now. Garrett, though, the one time that he tried to get a little bit aggressive, it nearly ended in disaster. It is still racing with Lukanov and Wilkie. You eventually run out of the superlatives to describe this side-by-side scrap. It has been brilliant, marvelous, superb, astonishing even.
Yeah, Garris started from the back. He didn't set a qualifying time. He's the actual hard charger at the moment with 16 positions gained, and is right on this battle. And whoa! And here goes Garris. And here goes Garris. My bad. Sorry, Soren.
Hey, you're on a good streak, I gotta say, though, Guido. You're on a very good streak of not having a commentator chinks. It happens on everybody's first show. It happened to me multiple times on my very first show, which should have been a sign of things to come, frankly. As we jump to this battling a little bit farther up the road, it's Antonio Reese, your current Masters leader, right in front of your current Spec 2 leader of Kevin Adrian. That's Simon Ball hopping the berm a little bit. He's stuck on the curb out of 13, and he's now feeling some pressure from Richard Harwood right behind. These drivers battling for the final 2 spots inside of the top 5, and the first 2 spots outside of it still gonna be racing hard, as Todd Shuey, the latest racer to come down pit lane, now officially past the halfway mark in this race here at Sebring. It's been a dramatic one up to this point. I wonder, though, if these racers are going to look to try and settle it into a groove by just coming into the pits and saying, you know what, I don't want to be involved in this hornet's nest anymore. Get me out of here.
Oh yeah, and let's look at what happened to Soren again from a different view. I think he tried to dive on the inside at the hairpin, and it didn't work well. Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, baby. Yeah.
Yeah,
Contact with himself and Wilkie, too.
Yeah. Contact with Joshua, and he had the wrong side of the straw. So.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's unfortunate. I wonder if he maybe had to let off the brakes a little bit to avoid a lockup. As Simon Ball has made the call to come down pit lane, he's now slotted outside of the top 15 now, as looks to try and repair the damage on that race car, top it up with gas, and get out of this chaos that he found himself in a few moments ago. It is turned into a 3-horse race with Antonio Reese, Richard Harwood, and Kevin Adrian. 3 different racers in 3 different classes as well. That's one great thing about the Weekend Warriors. It's good from our perspective on the broadcast, because we get to see a Masters racer, a Spec 1 racer, and a Spec 2 racer all duke it out in the exact same equipment, if not maybe a slightly different setup.
Yeah, we have another play. Let's see what happened to Todd Shiwi here. It's my turn to destroy surnames in not my language. So yeah, he just decided to call it a day. He parked the car out of the pit lane. And yeah, I have to say that Joshua Soto and Dmitry Lukanov, they kind of checked out of the earlier battle with Joshua Wilkie and Michael McConnell, and they're gaining time to the cars ahead of them, to the group ahead of them, which is composed by Antonio, Reese, Harwood, and Kevin Adrian. So if Lukanov takes advantage of the Soto speed on this track, because we said it's very fast, he can be back to Kevin Adrian and contest the first position in his very first race in the Weekend Warriors. So good job.
Yeah, very, very good job. I would love to see Dmitry Lukhanov return because this has been a very good race from him up to this point. Running aggressive, going for some gutsy moves, but he's kept it clean up to this point, so well done to him. As Antonio Reese from the Masters lead has made the call to come down pit lane. We'll see if anybody else follows in suit on this lap. 11 laps in to this 40-minute long race. Maurizio Nazelli is still your overall race leader with a 5-second gap between himself and Mikey Pollard, as that was nearly a bout of side-by-side racing a little bit farther up the road between Harwood and Kevin Adrian. We got these small little breakaway battles going on. Michael Nelson and Bob Cohn completing the pit stops right now, as it's all Masters racers coming into the pits this time by.
Yeah, all Masters races except for Chris Murakami, who takes the temporary lead of the class. He's actually P10 overall. And we haven't talked about him very much in this race because he started from the pits, but Jason Chen just set the purple sector in the first sector of this track of this lap, and is currently P15. And yeah, let's see how it works out for the sponsor of this race.
Yeah, so after starting down in pit lane, this has been a rousing recovery drive for him up to this point. So keep an eye on Jason Chen to maybe make up some more spots between now and the very end of this. Up one spot from where he started, even though he actually started down in pit lane. So well done to Jason Chen. We'll touch that there have been 3 retirements from this race. Technically 2. Max Gamble and Jörg Mani with some drama earlier on have called it quits in this race. And Dan Witzak slotted down in 31st. Did not actually take the start. He didn't even set a qualifying time. So I think he did a couple of laps in practice, said no, and then just decided to call it a day from there.
Yeah, no, thank you. He just tasted the track and said, no, thank you.
Double and give it to the next person.
Yeah.
That's basically what he decided to do. So it's unfortunate. Dan Witzak, very good racer, and he put in a good result last time out, if my memory serves me correctly, at Alton Park. But we'll have to see him next time out, potentially, as the series rocks up to week number 3. Graham Hunt, Stevie Ray, and Jeff Wubker involved in the battle. This battling for the final spot inside the top 20 as Kevin Adrian has now come down pit lane as Stevie running the rain line down into turn number 2 and 3, running off oh so wide. He held on to it, just barely, though.
Oh yeah, I think he tested that line in the yesterday race in the Formula V's. He usually don't race the Formula V's, but yesterday was part of the race, and if I remember correctly, he had a good finishing position also. So good job, Stevie.
Yeah, that was a pretty darn good race from him. So we'll have to see how Stevie can do throughout the rest of today, as he's running all right here in the Formula Fords. And we're probably going to see him out there on the racetrack for the 10th anniversary Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior Special coming up later on this afternoon on the iRacing Esports Network. And that's going to be a super fun race. You know, one thing that's kind of standing out to me, because there are many points in time late at night I'm just not able to fall asleep, and I'm like, am I actually good at, like, have I made it as a broadcaster? Then I realized that I've been on the iRacing channel 3 days in a row. Radicals on Friday, the Bathurst 1000, which was a very last-minute call for me to commentate that race for the final 2 hours, and a brilliant finish there. And nice to see SMB making their iRacing channel debut. That's going to be absolutely awesome a little bit later on this afternoon. And to all of you tuning into the show, hopefully you can tune into the action, show off the same SMB chat love that we usually see week in and week out here on the Weekend Warriors and on all the shows that we've got here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Love the community we have, love the races that we have, and we've got a darn good one here for the final 13 minutes with Maurizio Nazelli still leading. The pit stop still coming along, waiting to see who's going to be the latest racer to break away from the race and come down pit lane. They do have to do it at some point in time, and let's see who's going to be able to master that call the best.
So, Dmitry Lukhanov took the temporary lead on the S2 class because Kevin Adrian pitted earlier. Let's see if the overcut will work. And in the meanwhile, Maurizio Nazelli made the call to the pit lane for his pit stop.
So the pit stop's still going on. I want to answer this question from Michelle in the other YouTube chat. Who are going to be the announcers? It's going to be the same Spec Racer Florida Weekend Warriors crew as usual. It's going to be Guido on the cams. It's going to be Charles as my co-commentator. Wasn't able to make it for this FF show, and I'm going to fully just publicly embarrass myself and say that I completely forgot that Charles wasn't going to be here for this Formula Ford show until Charles reminded me earlier on this morning as I was out of the house. So that's on me. If you'd like to throw egg on my face, that's perfectly understandable. But it's going to be the usual Weekend Warriors crew on that show a little bit later on this afternoon, as we do have those pit stops going on. Drivers making that run into pit lane, and all of them have to come in at some point here in this race, and it's a matter of who's going to be able to make that call the best to decide who's going to come out of this race smelling like a bed of roses and who's going to come out of it smelling like a big bucket of horse manure. Kevin Adrian holds on to P9 right now, your current Spec 2 leader. Pretty all right result from the driver of the 210 car, looking to keep a streak going of two different Spec 2 racers thus far here in the first two races. Spec 2 is one of those categories where you either have a driver just completely dominating the field, or it's a little bit spotty with many a different racer walking away with victory. Jason Shell, oh boy, it's Kevin Adrian mega sideways off through turn number 6. I was just going to say that last season here in the Weekend Warriors Formula Ford, Jason Chen was absolutely dominant on track for that championship in season 3. But then you look at season 2, and I think we had like 8 different winners in 12 races.
They switched the classes actually. Kevin Adrian was S1 last season, and this season is S2 because he didn't have a very good season. The last one, it wasn't a good season for him, let's say. While, as you said, Jason Chen had an absolutely dominant season. So he's in S1 for this one. The leaders are in the pit stop. The first 4 positions, all the pit stop at the moment.
Yeah, so that's Mikey Pollard, Chris Cash, Richard Harwood, and Joshua Soto all coming down pit lane, and Soren Garrett's going to follow in suit. Maurizio Nazelli, meanwhile, already has that pit stop taken care of in the number 47 car, going to drive off into the sunset and blow all of these drivers' metaphorical doors off as he heads his way down that start-finish straightaway. Mikey Pollard looks like he's going to exit in a rather firm P2, but a black flag for him right as he comes out of the pits. That's going to be a stinger for Pollard.
Yeah, what a bummer. He was having a great race, and the pit lane is not the slowest on this track, but it's quite long, so you will lose a lot of time and possibly a few positions there.
Yeah, so that's going to be a huge kick in the shins. It's going to be a fantastic result for Christopher Cash, a racer who I first got acclimatized to covering some official Formula Ford racing here on the iRacing platform. And he is a very talented racer, and certainly proving that in one of his, I think he's still in the single digits of starts here in the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors, as it looks like he's going to be on track for a P2 once Mikey Pollard makes that call to come down pit lane. I probably just jinxed it as got struck by a flying coconut here in a few moments' time, as we'll jump back to this battle that has reformed with Antonio Reese, Kevin Adrian, Josh Soto, and Richard Harwood.
Let's see how it will work out. Antonio is comfortably in the lead for the Masters League, Masters class. We know that Antonio, because we talk with him every single week after the race, so we know his mindset when he's sure of getting the most out of it. He usually is very, very careful on what he does on track, so I won't be surprised if he would let the other drivers go and battle for position, and he will just stay there taking advantage of it.
That black flag sticks out like a sore thumb next to Mikey Pollard's name. That's such a kicker for him. He was running so well in this race, ran pretty darn good, of course, the last time out at Alton Park, able to get that W in the opening race of the season.
But really, I mean, it wasn't probably going to be a win here considering the gap that Marissa and Azelli had, but it is still going to be a discouraging result from Mikey Pollard as he has now made that call to come down pit lane. I still have him as a driver outline as one that we're expecting to do very well here in this season. Only won one race last season, that being in a very dramatic finish at Sonoma with himself and Daniel Tufts, who, interesting to see that Daniel Tufts hasn't showed up for the second week in a row after winning back-to-back championships. He is just absent. He's missing at the moment. That's a bit of a shame. But anyways, we've got side-by-side racing with Josh Soto and Kevin Adrian downtown to 1 and 2. Harwood going to look to try and capitalize on that opportunity. Second tries the charm. Opportunize, I don't think that's a word. Harwood jumps his way up into P6 as Kevin Adrian drops back to 7th.
Yeah, and we see Mikey Pollard serve that black flag and is exiting the pit lane in P15. P15, wow, that's harsh. From P2 to P15, it's, yeah.
That's brutal. That there's only one way to describe that, and that's absolutely brutal for Mikey Pollard. That was side-by-side racing with Antonio Reese and Josh Soto down to the hairpin. They're going to flare it up yet again, down to 8 and 9 through the Fangio section. Antonio Reese and Soto, very, very quick racers, very, very different experience levels as we have got ourselves a move from Soto, a move from Harwood as well, down to the brakes into turn number 10. He jumps in front of Antonio. Antonio holds onto a rather comfortable gap in that Masters category, but again, this series rewards points based off your overall finishing position, not based off your class position, so that P6 is going to mean exactly the same to Antonio Reese as it would to a driver like Soto, Harwood, or Kevin Adrian. So this battle for some of the final spots inside of the top 5 going to be intense as we get to the end.
Yeah, and also Joshua Soto, we named it a lot of times during this race. He is the actual hard charger at the moment, 16 spots gained, currently P4, so great race for him.
That's a very good performance from Soto. He doesn't appear too much in the Weekend Warriors world, but when he does, he's either putting in a darn good performance or he puts on some darn good pace and then ends up finding the wall between now and the very end of this event as Antonio Reese and Richard Harwood duking that through the final turn. That's going to be Antonio trying to jump his way back up into the top 5. Looks like he'll be able to do it as he clears them down across the line to begin yet another lap with time ticking down, running out here on this race. 5 minutes left to go, and Harwood turning up the wick, cranking up the pressure. He goes down the inside of Antonio Reese off into turn number 1 as Soto runs off into the dirt. This battle still going to be intense as Kevin Adrian with a horrid run off through turn number 1 going to drop down. He's still in P7, but has lost touch with those cars a little bit farther up in front of him.
Oh yeah, and Antonio made me a liar because I said that he's very smart, very cautious in this situation, but he's contesting every single corner to the other two, so he's fighting very hard. It's yeah, I have to say it's unusual for him in these situations. Maybe he's a bit afraid that Andrew Love would come back to him, so he don't want to lose any time. But yeah, I think he's having fun. He's having fun.
I think all these racers are having a good time as much as we talk about it being absolute pandemonium out there on the racetrack, and that most certainly is. These racers love a good little battle. We got a good little battle right now between Chris Murakami and Jason Chen, who's going to win out in this scrap between a reigning Spec 2 champion in the Spec 1 category and a Weekend Warriors veteran in the Masters class, side by side, down into 10. If they duke it out a little bit too hard, though, you look at Mikey Pollard a little bit farther in the background as well. He could very well turn this 2-car battle into a 3-car fight as they get single filed off through turn number 11, now down to 12 and 13. Jason Chen has jumped his way up into P13. Not the hard charger from this race, considering that he was meant to start a little bit farther up the road than what he did. A black flag in the air for Todd Shuey. That's going to take him out of contention as he was running down in P28. The last of the racers out there on the racetrack presently. Yeah, let's see what caused him to pick up that black flag.
Yeah, the infamous turn 1. Really, really bumpy, and yeah, this car doesn't like it at all. So
See, I'm wondering now, as he did a little bit of donut practice there in the runoff area of one, I wonder what hates bumps more, a Formula Ford car or my back? Because I could barely move the last time I got out of a kart. These cars can barely handle turn number one. And speaking of handling turn one, two cars handling turn one right alongside each other. Soto and Harwood still in that battle for the final two spots inside the top five. Soto going to hold on to P4 for now. It's brought back Kevin Adrian into this fight. Remember how he was a second behind these racers not too long ago? Nope, not anymore. Andrew Love coming down pit lane in the dying breaths of this race. That is a last-minute call to come down pit lane, maybe running out of fuel. The Thompson Trophy candidate there in the 944 machine as he exits out down to P18. Big kick in the shins for your Masters winner last time out. As we look at this racing down to turn number 7, it's the battling up of the front that we've been keeping tabs on all throughout this race, but two racers who were involved in it not too long ago who have dropped back into their own little battle is Dmitry Lukinov and Michael McConnell. They're covered by about a second. Was briefly below that, but I think McConnell may have had a moment all through the hairpin as Lukinov looks to try and build up that gap. We've said it a lot thus far in this broadcast, Guido, but I think it should be mentioned again. Lukinov in his series debut putting in a really strong performance today. Bravo to the number 30 car.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will get the white flag this time, so it's just a 1.5 lap for him to clinch the P2 in class in his very first race in the Weekend Warriors. So, it's a very good result. In the meanwhile, Chris Murakami had a moment, I think, with Jason Chen for the battle. Let's see the replay. And also Simon Ball.
That was Mikey Pollard in the midst of all that. Yeah. Ooh, Jackson.
Yeah.
I think Pollard making a 3 wide kind of choked him off a bit.
Yeah, and I think Simon Ball had some connection issues because he just disappeared from the race. But anyway, it's white flag lap.
Yeah, one more lap of racing action for Maurizio Nazelli to win this race by 11.789 seconds. He continues to pull that gap every single passing moment. Brilliant drive from Maurizio Nazelli, converting a pole potentially into a win. He only has about a lap and 3/4 left to go. As that right there was Josh Soto running wide coming out of turn number 1. He goes for a quick trip into the grass, holds on to P3, but that's not going to help out his case.
With what happened with to Simon Ball, this is actually a battle for the overall podium.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Ball with the falling anvil coming down on him. It's going to give Soto, Harwood, Reese, and Adrian the opportunity to contend for a podium spot. This would be absolutely mesmerizing from all these racers. They're looking to have a good season. Soto, he pops in from time to time. He's a very good racer, wants to get a good result whenever he can. Richard Harwood, he's been a good contender in the Spec 1 category, rather strong and consistent, but I've never really seen him make that big leap up into championship contention. And of course, Antonio Reese and Kevin Adrian, your current class leaders and Masters in Spec 2, they're looking to have a good season in their own right as well. So this P3, even the top 5, will mean a heck of a lot to these racers. So it may get a little bit physical as we get to the end of this race. Harwood gonna lead Reese in front of Adrian, but right in front of him is Soto. The 4-pack of cars head their way off through turn number 13, Tower Bend, for the final time in this race. It is going to be a scrap to the line, a battle to the very end of this race between these 4 competitors. Who's going to pass first? Only time will tell as they had their way down to 15. That's contact. Reese got to pick up a black flag for incidents, and that's going to bop him out of it. I think that would actually give the Masters win, depending on how the gaps and everything shake out to Jeff Wubker.
Yeah, it's
will be
40
borderline.
seconds. Yeah, it's 40 seconds. Jeff Wubker will get the win, and meanwhile, the overall winner, uncontested, Nazelli. Yeah.
And Nazelli got to get the W here at Sebring, as in a dramatic swing of momentum at the end of this. Antonio Reese set to lose out on that Masters win. Christopher Cash gonna fish in P2. Soto gonna lead him out of the final turn to round out your podium in third. Photo finishes right behind, nearly involving Reese and Adrian. Of course, with that penalty, Reese gonna drop down like a stone thrown into a pond. Wubker on track to finish this race in 12th. Will probably get elevated to P11, and that would be a darn good result from him. him. We'll, of course, be able to touch on the results between now and the end of the show and let you know how it works out.
Mikey Pollard, yeah. Wilkie. Maybe Thompson Trophy for him. He lost
it's got to be.
Position. Yeah, he lost a position to Soren Gerritsen on the finish line. So maybe, and let's see where Antonio Rees will be classified. And it's let's see if it updates. We don't know. For the moment, it's still P5, but I don't think he would keep it.
Yeah, that's most certainly not going to stick. He's going to, at the very least, drop down outside of the top 10. There are some rather big cushions right behind him, so that could help his case in terms of not dropping completely outside of the top 20, but it'll still be a pretty big fall off for him at the very end of this race. A huge kick in the shins for Antonio. Crosses the line in P4 as we wait for a few more racers to cross the line here over the next couple of moments. We'll get a firm update for you on how it works out. At the end of the second race of the season, a dramatic race for sure. We are expecting Sebring to bring the action, and that it certainly did, Guido.
Oh yeah. We had the first half of the race, especially with those 7-car battles. It was great. It was great. Then that group got split. Joshua Soto and Dmitry Lukhanov checked out from that group, and things got a bit calmer on that part of the grid. But we had a very good battle by the end for the last spot on the podium, and congrats to everyone. It was a clean race, hard racing, but very clean and fair, to be honest, because this isn't an easy track to race around and going 3 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide, lap after lap after lap without crashing into someone else. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
It was absolutely awesome. Every single reason why we love the Weekend Warriors and love these races just caught on full display here today.
So
as I think we do have some results to take a look at. Yes, we do. And let's take a look at them at the end of this race. We'll let you know that Maritza Nazelli got the win at the end of it all. 13.4 seconds at the end of this. And should be noted, as he crossed the line, set the fastest lap of the race in the process. The only racer throughout the entirety of this field to dip below a 2-minute 16, a 2:15.912 for Nazelli at the end of this race. He was on rails in that number 47 car. Christopher Cash is classed in P2 with Josh Soto rounding out your podium in third. Richard Harwood is in P4. Kevin Adrian is in P5. P2 in the Spec 2 category goes to Dmitry Lukhanov in his series debut. What a performance from him in that number 30 machine. Michael McConnell is classed in P7. Soren Gerritsen in P8. Josh Wilkie winning the Thompson Trophy and finishing this race in P9. Mikey Pollard will round out your top 10. We do have confirmation that Antonio Rees lost out on the win in Masters. He gives it to Jeff Welpker in the 909 car, who finishes right in front of Chris Murakami, about 4 seconds, the gap between your front two in the Masters category there. Graham Rory Hunt is classed in P13. Jason Chen in 14th. Cesar Manzato will finish in 15th. It will be Antonio Rees, Stevie Ray, Andrew Love completing your top 18, and a nice little cluster of Masters racers there. It will be Petrus and Rocha in 19th, Paul Jackson in 20th, Bob Cohen in 21st, Michael Nelson in 22nd, John Thompson 23rd, Jim Brewster in 24th, Ian Anderson in P25, Jeff Browning in P26, Simon Ball in P27. One of the first retirees from this race. Todd Shuey had an up and down race. The Canadian behind the wheel, the 230 cars class in 28th. Max Gamble retired from this race early on in 29th, along with York Monty in 30th, and Dan Woodsack in the 113 car did not take the start. So those are your results at the end of the second round of the championship.
Yeah,
Looks like we got some drivers having.
I want to take a look at what happened to Simon Ball. So I have a replay. I don't know if he just disconnected or he had a problem. So let's see what happened to him, because we didn't catch it live, and he suddenly disappeared from the. Oh, here we go. Here's what happened. so he just clipped the curb and spun. So it wasn't a connection issue. It was, as we say, a skill issue in this case.
Yeah, unfortunate time for a skill issue to pop up. Very tough end to the race for him, and a pretty mixed bag for these races. Some of them had very good days. Others probably excited to leave this racetrack and look ahead to the next round of the championship at Okayama in just 1 week's time. But we do have some drivers looking to have a chat with us at the end of all this. I think we'll have a chat with Kevin Adrian first and foremost, our Spec 2 winner at the end of this race. We'll drag him into the broadcast booth to get his perspective on all of it. Kevin Adrian, welcome in here to the broadcast booth. Congratulations on the win in Spec 2. How was it out there here today at Sebring?
Yeah, that was a fun race. This is a great combo. Staying in draft is obviously the key here. So I wasn't fighting too hard, just trying to stay up with the pack that I was in, trying to save some gas, and yeah, had a good pit stop, which has been my problem recently, so I was happy with that. And then coming out, I was in front of a couple of faster guys, and unfortunately they got in front of me, but
And it still worked out very well for you here today at Sebring, walking away with the Spec 2 win. I will say, unfortunately, we're a little bit tight on time because of the Spec Racer Forward special event a little bit later on. So I'll ask you about your thoughts heading off to the next race of the season at Okayama in 1 week's time.
I think we lost Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Oh, hello, Kevin. We got a copy on you.
We don't hear you.
Oh.
Okay, I think we lost him. He's still on the channel, but yeah.
Yeah, I think unfortunately we just lost Kevin Adrian there. We would love to hear his perspective about Okayama, but unfortunately the internet gods do not want him to share his perspective on the race at Okayama. So let's have a quick little chat with Jason Shen at the end of all this. Really want to hear his perspective of all of it. Jason, welcome in here to the broadcast booth. Firstly, thank you for sponsoring today's broadcast here on SMB. And how was the race out there at Sebring? That looked like a pretty wild one.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this race was not great for me. So at the start, I accidentally quit the session. I was trying to close my Gar61 website. I get somehow my trackpad, maybe I had sweaty fingers. It double clicked on the X on the top right, and I had to rejoin the session and start from the pit. So that was not great. And then this track is very difficult. I tried my best to stay clean to no avail. Unfortunately, I look back on the replay. Like this track is just a hard track. It's a lot of places to make mistakes, and like I think lap 2, turn 1, I tried to do like a switchback on max gamble, but I looked back on the replay and I think I may have misjudged a little bit the exit. I just took slightly bit too much space and tagged his left rear and spun him. And then it was kind of just a scrappy race for me, kind of mistakes here and there. And then like towards the end, I think I tagged Chris. Don't know how to pronounce his last name. I don't have it in front of me, but I tried to stay back a bit. I braked a bit early, but I kind of let off my brakes too much a bit, I guess. I arrived into the apex a bit hot, and then he also didn't really accelerate because he was trying to leave a lot of space for Mikey Pollard looking around the outside on the exit. So unfortunately, it was just a scenario where it was too late for me to try to avoid it once, and then I tagged him as well. So. And then the final lap, I don't know what I was thinking. I went off with a few turns left, probably just getting distracted thinking about what happened in the race too much, and just made a lapse of concentration and lost 3 places for no good reason. It was not a great race for me, and yeah. But hopefully I hope there was plenty of good action elsewhere on the racetrack. This is a great league, and I hope viewers were able to enjoy some good racing.
Oh, there was a lot of action. There was a lot of nervousness, I think would probably be the best way to describe it in some of the racing up towards the front. It was a fun show here, and happy to be here for the second round of this season. But Jason, looking ahead to next week, Okayama in 1 week's time, that's going to be a pretty fun race for round number 3. So what are your thoughts heading there?
I think it'll be fun. I don't expect to be fast there though. There has I'm not very good at the two hairpin turns towards the end of the lap, I'm just not good through them for some reason. But hopefully it'll be an enjoyable race there too.
I have a feeling it's going to be. It's a Weekend Warriors. It's never not going to be fun. It's always exciting, and certainly going to be exciting there. But Jason, thank you for joining us here in the booth. We'll, as per usual, let you give the thanks and shout outs before we let you go.
Yeah, shout out to the Weekend Warriors being 10 years now, celebrating a 10-year anniversary. It's all thanks to Stevie Ray and his hard work for keeping it up for 10 years. So I won't be there, but hopefully a lot of people tune into the broadcast. I heard it's also going to be on the iRacing channel. So yeah, hope for a good race to watch there.
It's going to be super, super fun. And you did hear correctly, it will be on the iRacing Esports Network a little bit later on today. But Jason, thank you for joining us here in the booth. Well done on the rousing recovery drive after starting this race from the pits, and looking forward to seeing you out there at Okayama next time out.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
And that right there was Jason Chen, our sponsor of today's broadcast here, joining us here in the booth. Guido, I gotta say, man, of all the races that I could drag you into the broadcast booth to commentate a race with, this was probably the most exciting one. We had no shortage of action to talk about.
Oh, it was exciting. It was a great race for my debut behind the mic, and packed with action, a lot of things going on till the end of the race with the black flag for the poor Antonio, that I think he got it on purpose not to win this race, because I was on the mic today, so he didn't want to be interviewed by me, so I guess he did it on purpose.
Oh yeah, I think you would have been irate if he managed to get another W here. We all like to have a good time.
Yeah, I was ready to say boring, as I usually do, but nobody hears me except for you and Charles and Antonio. And this time everybody would have heard me, and it's unlucky for him. It's really unlucky for him. He had a very bad luck race also yesterday, because he was out of the race when we made contact with Andrew Love, and the three of us made contact on turn 1 on lap 6, and he had to retire the car at that point. So yeah, come on Antonio, you will do very well in the next one on the iRacing channel, so get ready for it.
Oh, we are certainly going to be getting ready for it. It is going to be some awesome action to look forward to later on this afternoon, as SMB makes its debut on the iRacing Esports Network with the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors 10th Anniversary Special Edition race coming at you live at Road Atlanta in just less than an hour's time. In fact, we'll be going live with that race, and you can tune into that show over on the iRacing channel. And of course, you can tune into all of the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting week in and week out. Later on tonight, we've got XSLR running at Talladega for the 4th round of their series. American Muscle Series going to be running another round of their championship on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. SRG F4 going to be running at the Hungaro Ring. The F3 action from Sim Races Group going to be at Interlagos the following day. And next weekend we'll be on back on schedule with the Weekend Warriors World, with 1 race in Germany and 2 in Japan. The Formula V is going to be at the Saxon Ring. The FF1600 is going to be at Okayama, and the Spec Racer Ford's going to be running at Tsukuba next time out. So you can tune into all of the action here on Slow Motion Broadcasting and never miss out on any of it by hitting that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on the action. But stay tuned, folks, over on the iRacing Esports Network today on the iRacing channel. You can tune in to that very special race in the Weekend Warriors World. But as for this broadcast here, for round number 2 of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors, that will just about do it. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Guido Marzucchi working the comms and the cams with me for the very first time on today's show, I say thank you all so very much for tuning into the action on Slow Motion Broadcasting today, and we hope to see you all for that Spec Racer Ford special event later on this afternoon.